Welcome everyone to Think Global Education Services SAT Math class. Guys, the topic for today is ratios and proportions. Ratios and proportion. Ratios and proportion. So this is again a minor topic in SAT, but there are few basic concepts that you need to understand that actually students make a lot of mistakes in. So we'll understand those basic ideas behind ratios and proportion, and we'll take few examples to understand those concepts. Okay guys, so let's start. So very basics of ratios. Okay. If I say the ratio of A is to B is 5 is to 4, it's given here. It means that A is equal to what and B is equal to what. Now generally, that's the very basic mistake that a student does. When the ratio is A is to B, the student directly conclude the argument by saying that A is 5 and B is 4. Now that might be correct, but that's not always the fact. So I cannot directly assume the ratios as original. So here, do you realize if I say A is equal to 5, B is equal to 4, that is one of the possibility. This actually comes with if and then clause. So if A is 5, then B is 4. But what will happen if I say A is 10? To maintain the same ratio, B also have to be doubled. So B will be 8. Now, if I say A is 15, then B also have to be tripled and then B will be 12. So do you realize by saying A is to B is 5 is to 4 does not mean that A is equal to 5, B is equal to 4. So the basic understanding that we have here is that the ratios are not the original values. Ratios are not the original values. They could be, but I cannot assume them as original values. So when I say the ratio of A is to B is 5 is to 4, if I really want to assume them as original, we will multiply them with a multiplier and I will say A is equal to 5k and B is equal to 4k, where k is a multiplier. So do you realize if I say k is equal to 1, of course A will be 5, B will be 4. So that's one of the possibility. But if I say k is equal to 2, A will actually become 10 and B will actually become 8. Similarly, if I say k is equal to 3, A will actually become 15 and B will actually become 12. So you have to be very careful in this. The ratios are not the original values. Now, if you really want to perform any calculation, you will perform the calculations on the original. So just make a habit that whenever you assume any original, you multiply them with a multiplier and then you can do whatever you want to do with the numbers because now they are original. So finally, if I say A by B is 5 is to 4, that means A is actually 5k and B is actually 4k. So I hope this basic logic is sorted. Never assume the ratios as the original. Always multiply them with the multiplier and then try to perform your calculations. Now let's understand how do they actually use this concept in the question, how SAT tricks you with this concept. So with that, let's move to the next question. And it says the weight of two wrestlers are in the ratio of 7 is to 8. So if given me the ratio, so I can say the ratio of the weight of two wrestlers, let's say W1 and W2 is 7 is to 8. Now if each of the wrestlers puts on fighting accessories weighing 2 pounds, what is the ratio of their new weights? So generally the mistake here is we believe in our head that the weight of the wrestler is 7, the weight of the second wrestler is 8, and I will add 2 pounds to both of them and the new ratio will become 9/10. And that's the new ratio and I'll mark B and move. But as we learned, guys, this is a trap. This is a trap answer. So be careful, we'll not do it like this. Now, as I told you, the ratios are not the original number. So when I say the ratio of their weight is 7:8, that does not mean that the weight of first wrestler is 7 and the weight of second wrestler is 8. If I really want to assume the original weight of wrestler 1, I'll multiply this with a multiplier. So I can say the weight of the first wrestler is 7K. Similarly, the weight of the second wrestler would be 8K. Now they are original. So now I can say these are the original weights, and if I really want to multiply or really want to add 2 pounds of fighting accessories, I will actually add them to the original weight. I will not add them to the ratios. Now I can say the first wrestler will actually weight 7K plus 2 and the second wrestler will actually weight 8K plus 2. So their new ratio will actually turn out to be 7K plus 2 over 8K plus 2. So that's actually their new ratio where K is a multiplier. Now, since the value of K is not known, can you figure out the new ratio? Not really. I cannot figure out the new ratio unless and until I figure out K. And there is no information in the question which actually tells me the value of K. So K is missing. So I actually cannot determine the new ratio. It will always be in the form of a variable that is 7K plus 2 divided by 8K plus 2. So be careful guys, never add anything original to the ratios. Always assume them to be original first and then you can do whatever you want to do. You want to add something, you want to subtract original values, you can do that. But before that, you have to assume them as original. So I believe this logic is sorted. Now moving forward, in ratios, sometimes we have a question like this. They are saying that the ratio of A is to B is 2:3 and the ratio of B is to C is 3:5. Then they really want me to compare the ratios of all three together. Now it's actually a simpler version because I know A is to B is 2:3 and B is to C is 3:5. So I realize the variable that is common, that is B. Now the value of B in both the ratios is same. So it does not trouble me and I can directly say A is to B is to C directly becomes 2:3:5. So you just have to look for a variable that is common. So this is a common variable here. And if the value of the common variable is same, I can directly compare the ratio that is 2:3:5. So it does not trouble me. I hope it is clear. But what will happen if the variable that is common does not have the same value? So let's try to take a couple of examples for that also. Now here in this particular question, you can see the ratio of A is to B is 7:1. The ratio of B is to C is 2:5. Now when I notice the common variable, which is actually B, the value of B is 1 here and the value of B is 2 here. So the point that you need to understand, whatever variable that is common, make it equal. So whatever variable which is common, you have to make it equal. And if you make it equal, you can actually compare all the three ratios together. Now in the first part, I see the value of B is 1. In the second part, I see the value of B is 2. So how can I make it equal? I will simply multiply the first ratio with 2. So now, if I look at the first equation, it will become 14:2. I have multiplied the first equation with 2. And the second equation, I'll leave it as it is, that is 2:5. Now I realize the variable that is common, the values are same. Now I can directly compare the ratio of A is to B is to C. That will actually be 14:2:5. So the process still remains the same. Now the process is whatever variable is common, make it equal. And when you make it equal, you can actually compare all three ratios together. So that's the very basic step. Variable which is common, identify that variable, make that variable equal, and then you can compare all of them together. So let's try to take one more example so that we understand it thoroughly. Now in this case, if you see the ratio A is to B is 2 is to 3, B is to C is 4 is to 5. Now I identify the common variable which is B. Now the variable which is common, I have to make it equal. Now the value of B is 3 here and the value of B is 4 here. If I want to make the variables be equal, I will multiply the first equation with 4 and I will multiply this time the second equation with 3. So I will realize that A is to B will become 4 into 2, 8 and 4 into 3, 12. And B is to C will become 4 into 3, 12 and 5 into 3, 15. So now if you notice the variable that is common, the values are also equal. Now after that, I can just compare the three ratios directly. So A will be 8, B is 12 and C is 15. So you see the process still remains the same, but make sure whatever variable is common, you make it equal and then you compare all the three ratios together. So I hope now it's clear. So I'll just write down the points here. Identify the common variable. Identify the common variable. Second step, make it equal. Make it equal. And the third step, you can directly compare the ratios. So I believe now it is sorted that how do you actually compare the three ratios together. So that's the very basic idea that you need to have regarding the ratios. Now moving forward, let's talk about proportion. Now in your SAT, you would have, or everyone would have heard these kind of expression that A is directly proportional to B, A is inversely proportional to B. So when I see that, what is the relationship between A and B? What is the relationship between A and B? That's the question. So let's talk about first, A is directly proportional to B. When I say A is directly proportional to B, mathematically, I write it like this. And if I want to remove this proportionality sign, I have to multiply this expression with K, and I say K is nothing but a constant of proportionality. So in this case, I'll realize that A by B is actually equal to K. So if A is directly proportional to B, I can say their division is fixed. Their division is a constant. Division is fixed. So you can also understand it like this. If A goes up, then B will also go up. And if A goes down, B will also go down if I really want to maintain their division to be same. Similarly, when I say A is inversely proportional to B, A is inversely proportional to B, I'll express it like this. And if I want to remove that proportionality sign, I'll multiply it with a constant of proportionality. So it actually becomes A is equal to K over B. And hence it becomes AB is equal to K. So A is inversely proportional to B. That means I can clearly see their product is fixed. So if A is inversely proportional to B, that means their product will always be a constant. Product is fixed. So this is the basic understanding when we say A is directly proportional to B, A is inversely proportional to B. Now let's take an example to understand how this directly proportional or inversely proportional works. So guys, here in this question, I can see When a ball is dropped from a certain height, the distance covered is directly proportional. The distance covered is directly proportional to the square of time elapsed. So this square is also very important. Square of times elapsed. So I can directly make an equation. Let's say the distance is directly proportional to the square of time elapsed. So let's say t is time, t is distance. Now, if I want to remove this proportional sign, I'll just multiply with a constant of proportionality. So I can say d is actually equal to kt whole square. Now, if I read further, it says if a ball takes 5 seconds to cover a distance of 125 feet. So in this case, the distance is 125 and the value of t is 5 seconds. So if I replace these values in this equation, 125 is equal to k, t is 5 square. So from here, I can actually get this constant, that is 125 over 5 square is 25. So I will generate the value of k as 5. Now, if I read the question forward, they say, then how much time will it take to cover a distance? How much time will it take to cover a distance of 320 feet? Now, the distance is equal to kt square. I know that. They are asking me how much time will it take to cover a distance of 320 feet. I know the distance is 320 feet. K t square. They are asking me the value of t. So this t I need to figure out. I've already figured out the value of k. So I can very well replace the value of k here. The equation will be 320 is equal to 5 t square. And from here, I'll get the value of t square, which is 320 over 5. That's 64. And t will come out to be under root 64, which is 8. So that's option number B. So you have to realize that when they say directly proportional, you have to make an equation in this form and then you can proceed with the question. So guys, this was the question on proportion. Now, let's take a couple of more examples to understand the ratios in a more effective manner. In this question, it says 3 friends divide a dollar bill of $48 in a ratio of 5:3:4. So 3 friends divide in a ratio of 5:3:4. But as I know, these are not the original values. So if I want the original money paid by all those 3 friends, I will multiply these ratios with the multiplier. So I'll say the first friend actually invested 5k. The second friend actually give 3k and the third friend actually give 4k. Now these are the original values because I have multiplied them with a multiplier. Now the 3 friends divided a dollar bill of $48. So they are already telling me that the total money that they divide is $48. So I know that their 3 addition will always give me 48. So 5 plus 3, 8. 8 plus 4, 12. So 12k is 48. From here, I'll get that constant, that is 48 over 12. That's 4. So I got the constant. Now what are they asking me? They're asking me what is the difference between the greatest and the least contribution. So from here, I realize that the greatest contribution is 5k, which is 5 times 4, that is $20. And the least contribution is 3k, which is 3 times 4, that is $12. And the question is asking me what's the difference in the greatest and the least. So that's 20 minus 12, which will be $8. So that's option number B. So again, you see the ratios, you'll always multiply them with a multiplier, make them original, and then you can do whatever you want to do with them, add them, subtract them. So that's how we work on ratios. Now, guys, let's take one final example, which is actually a very good question on ratios. So let's try cracking this question. A person spends 60% of his salary S and invest the rest. Okay. So if I spend 60% of the salary, how much will I invest? The remaining, that's 40%. So I invested 40% of S, that is 40S by 100. This is the money that I invested. Now when I read further, invest where? Invest in N identical debt funds and J identical equity funds in the ratio of 3:2. That means the money that I invested on two portions. I invested on debt funds and I invested on equity funds in the ratio of 3:2. But again, is this the original value? No. So if I say I invested in the ratio of 3:2, I can say I invested 3K on debt funds and 2K in the equity funds. That means the total money that I invested is actually equal to 5K. Now this is the original value. Now I know I invested 5K, which will always be equal to the money that I invested according to this equation, because they are already saying I invested 40% of my salary. So from here, I can actually figure out the value of K. That means 5K is actually equal to 40 into S divided by 100. So K will be 40 into S into over 100 into 5. So if I solve this, it will be 2, 5. So it's actually become 2 into S over 25. So I got the value of K from here. Now, when I read the question, they are saying, what is the amount invested on equity funds or each equity funds? So let's focus on how much money I actually spend on equity funds. As I can clearly see, the money that I invested on equity funds is 2K. I already know the value of K. I'll just replace it here. So that's twice into 2 times S over 25. That will actually become 4 times S over 25. So this is the money that I invested on equity funds. Now you have to be very careful. They are not asking me how much money I invested on equity funds. They are asking me how much money I invested on each equity funds. So that means if I really want to figure out how much money I invested on each equity fund, I will divide it with the number of equity funds I bought. Now, when I look at the question, how many equity funds I actually bought? I bought J identical equity fund. So that means I'll just divide this expression with J, and the expression will come out to be 4 into S divided by 25 into J. So hence this J will go up here. And when I look at the options, it's actually option number C. That is 4S over 25J. Now guys, if you are able to do this question, that means your concept on ratios are very strong. It's not that difficult, guys. You just need to understand that if they give you the ratio, you have to make them into original and then you can work with the problem. Total money that I invested is 5K, which is actually equivalent to 40% of my salary. From here, I get the multiplier and then I figured out how much money I invested on equity funds. But the question is asking me on each equity fund. So I'll just divide it with the number of equity funds I bought, which is J, and I'll get the expression. So guys, I hope the concept of ratios and proportion is clear to you. And I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thank you all for watching the video.